Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Andre Soukhamthath, who will fight in the kickboxing bout on Fight Night San Jose 5, June 13th. Hello, Andre. How are you?
Hi, how are you, man? Thanks for having me.
Will be back in the combat sports. You will be fighting in the kickboxing bout against a really solid opponent. So, if you can tell me, when did you find out about this fight?
I found out in April. I think June, July. Okay. Talking about it around March. You know what I mean? I think I found out that they were doing like a fight night in March, and then in April, I think the deal got done. Like towards the end of April, I was literally just coming back from vacation. Originally, they told me that the fight was supposed to be May 30th, so I was getting ready for that. Um, and then I was going on vacation. I had vacation booked already, and then they ended up pushing the fight back 2 weeks, and I've yet still to have an opponent. So I wasn't sure if I was fighting. So I went to vacation. I did my thing. I did what I did on vacation, and then literally when I get back from vacation, maybe the same day or the day after, they came. Fight Night at the Tech came with me. Came to me with an offer and an opponent. So I was just like, yeah, I'll take it. I just I missed fighting. I felt like I just needed to get back in there.
And do you consider going back to MMA?
um, Kickboxing sounds really fun. Especially now that I'm extremely busy in my life now. I own a business. I run a gym. I teach a lot of classes. So I just thought that kickboxing would be the correct route right now. It's something I always wanted to do. It's uh it's easier to train for the fight for kickboxing than MMA. MMA you have to do wrestling, you have to do jujitsu, you have to do so many things. But kickboxing is simple. You're punching and you're kicking and you just gotta get in shape. So I just thought that kickboxing was a good first step, right? Good first step. And I know there's a lot of other opportunities, new opportunities for MMA. So I think that it's possible that I get back into MMA for sure.
And actually, it's kind of crazy that you last time you fought it was over 4 years ago, and still you are 47. So definitely, they are like really good fighters who are maybe not in their prime, but they are fighting in the on the really high level. So you are definitely have this kind of like few years time that you can compete against like
Yeah.
really high level fighters.
Yeah, I feel like I did retire early, I retired when I was like 33, stopped fighting. But I just felt it wasn't fun for me anymore at that time, and I was looking to do other things, you know. I wanted to try and start do other things, but I I realized in these 4 years there's nothing better than fighting. Like I'm a fighter first, and even though my body was hurting and stuff like that, I feel like during these 4 years my body did recover. I've trained with the best teams these past, for my whole career. I've trained with the best teams. I trained with the Black Zillions. I've trained with American Top Team. So like every day you're training with the best fighters, the best wrestlers, the best jiu-jitsu people, and you're sparring the best fighters in the world. And my body got beat up during those 10, 12 years training with those teams. So that's why I felt like I just needed to retire. But I feel like I'm all healed up now. I feel like that little break really helped my body, helped my mind. um I found that I'm always thinking about fighting every day, and all I really had to do was just put the work in. Now I'm at a good weight. Now I'm in fighting shape, and it's crazy. I never thought I'd be here again, but I am, and I want to do more and more and more. I want to stay like this forever.
And right now you will fight against a really good fighter who actually trains in alpha male. And are you happy that he will be your next opponent, so the opponent in the kickboxing bout?
Yes, of course. I don't. At this point in my career, there's no easy fights, and even when I was coming up, I never really had any easy fights. I always took on the tough fights, and that's why my record is 14-10, 15-10 if you count my Muay Thai fight. But you know, I want the biggest challenges, and my opponent June 13th, he's going to be a big challenge. And the reason I like fighting good fighters and fighting tough fights is because it makes me train hard and it makes me push harder. It gives me inspiration, it gives me motivation to eat the right foods, to train the right way, and to stay focused. Keeps me sharp.
And some time ago, you posted on Instagram the post that you are like BMF because of, and you put like few sentences of your story. And actually, I would agree that fighters like you, so the veterans of the sport who never were afraid of taking tough fights, they definitely should be like really respected, because this is probably one of the like the most important position in combat sport, because not there are of course like undefeated prospects, but there are this kind of like veterans are the like the most important people in the sport, I believe.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me. Um, I definitely for sure want to be known as a BMF, one of the most BMF fighters that ever did MMA. Not only in my weight class, but in fighting in general. I hope that this young generation, especially that's coming up in MMA, realize that, because with all the social media and stuff like that, they tend to lean towards like the more undefeated fighters, or the perfect fighters, and then when they start themselves, I think they realize that it's not as easy as it is. And everyone wants to get to the UFC, and you got to pay a price to get to the UFC, and I paid a big price when I've always had to work, I've always had a family, and thank God I had a lot of support from my family. But it's not like I had an easy road to get to where I am, and I think that's why I'm coming back too. It's because I know how far I've gone, but I know how much better I could have did. When I was relevant in the sport, when people recognize my name, when people recognize me as a fighter, um, I think that I should have did better when I was in the UFC, and that feeling eats at me every day sometimes, literally every day. Like, and when I'm watching fights, I'm like, man, I could still be there. I should still be one of the superstars in the UFC, one of the veterans in the UFC. But instead, I got cut 3 years, and then had some ups and downs after the UFC release, and I decided to retire. And that doesn't sit well with me. So hopefully, we take it one step at a time. But the way I'm feeling right now, I feel like I love training again. I love learning again. I love eating healthy. I love just working out and being in fight shape. So I'm 37, but I feel like I have a healthy body, healthy mind now, and I feel like I can make another run and make things right.
And 15 years ago, you fought in amateur fight against Rob Font, and probably this fight, like 15 years from the fight, so 2026 would still be like super interesting one to see.
Oh yeah, that would be a great fight. Believe it or not, yes, I fought Rob Font in the amateurs, but I fought him many times, maybe 10, 15 other times, because we've trained together, and we've had some good rounds going back and forth. Because we came up from the same area, so whenever I'm back home in Boston, I'll drop by the old training grounds, and we'll all get together and train sometime. So it would it's a good fight in the gym, but it would definitely be a good fight in the cage again.
And of course, like in your career, you also fought as the pro, like against Sean O'Malley, Montel Jackson, Jonathan Martinez, so many like top level guys. But is there any like name that you wish you fought in the UFC?
Man, so many top level guys that I've fought, and all the guys you've mentioned, they're still in the UFC and they're still doing well, and whenever I see them doing well, it makes me happy because now that I'm older and there's a lot of ego when you're fighting, there's a lot of ego when you're young, right? But now I'm a little older and I'm watching the fights and I know how hard it is to stay into the UFC, and just knowing that I fought those guys and that they're doing well now, it makes me happy because I was at that level. I am at that level, and when you fight somebody, you share something special. And even with O'Malley, we had bad blood, and the fight after fighting him, my career kind of changed. It wasn't the best, because I had bad reputation after his fight, but even when he became champion, it made me really happy because it was like, wow, I fought a world champion, and I went the distance with him. I got fight of the night with the man, So I look at things differently now, for sure, And man, the UFC threw everybody at me, and I wish I could have had like my biggest fight. Obviously, the biggest name I fought was O'Malley. It was on pay per view. It was a featured fight. But I wish that I wouldn't say anybody in particular that I had to fight. I always wanted to fight Davy Grant because we had a little. He said something to me one time at the UFC retreat when they had the UFC retreat in 2017 in Vegas, where all the fighters came together, and he kind of like chuckled a little joke at me that I still remember that I didn't like too well. He was just trying to say I was too small and I looked like a 125er, so I felt like that was a shot at me. So like I remember one time I called him on Twitter trying to get the matchmakers to match us up, and I guess he had a bad knee at that time, so he's still in the UFC. So that's a fight that I always wanted. Sounds stupid because of stupid words, but it's just kind of like, oh, you want to talk your shit, fight. Other than that, I just wish that I could have did like a main event, headline a fight night. I could have been on a couple of UFC countdowns so I could share my story a little bit more. I just wish I could have did that stuff in the UFC, you know.
Yes, but actually, I think that like from the bantamweight division, definitely there would be few really interesting matchups. Like, of course, like striking fights, especially that can be like in the like fight of the night conversations.
For sure, for sure. And I've had a lot of opportunities to do that. I've had a lot of opportunities to do that when I was in the UFC. I just didn't. I just didn't capitalize on it. And you know, this new Andre that's coming back, you're gonna see a lot more fire. You're gonna see me going for it a lot more than I have in the past. Even though I did in the past, but you're just gonna see a different mindset in the ring and in the cage.
And right now, you are owner of your own gym, right? Sensation MMA.
Correct. Yes.
And when you were younger, did you think that you would like to have your own gym and team, or this idea came a little bit like later in your life?
Absolutely. I always saw myself owning my own gym. I've always enjoyed teaching others. It's always been my job. It's something training people and teaching classes. I did that for like 20 years. That was my job when I was fighting in the UFC. So I have a lot of experience in working with groups of people. I have a lot of experience working with children. I have a lot of experience working one on one with my clients. So I was like, you know what? Why not? Me and my wife talked about it. Let's open up our own place. We have all the experience. I know it's scary. It's something new. It's something we've never done before because we've never owned the business. But I think that I think with the knowledge that I've I've captured in my whole career, training with so many different great trainers and training partners, and my wife also knowing the business side of things. She's really smart on the books, and she was also my MMA manager also. My whole career. So we knew the business, and we've worked at a lot of gyms. A lot of good things we took from the gyms, and a lot of things that we can do better. So I kind of just took all that and put it into my gym, and I hope that people are happy with it. Just treat people good no matter what, and I enjoy helping people. I enjoy like helping people because that's what MMA did for me. It gave me an outlet when I was going through a tough time in my life. When I was going through many tough times in my life, it always gave me an outlet, and I want to do that for others. You don't have to be a fighter. You could work in the tech job. You could be a stay-at-home mom. You can be a fighter, whatever it is. But when you're in the gym and you're training, you're learning, you're enjoying yourself, and it's kind of like therapy. You know what I mean?
And do you think that in the future you will have some fighters, maybe even on the like UFC level, that you can coach in the UFC?
I'm absolutely hoping for that. I would love that, but I do not like to put pressure on people. You know, um, if the right person comes up to me and says, "Hey, I want to be a fighter," I've had a lot of that. But if I see someone saying, "Hey, I want to be a fighter," they put the time in. They're not just a good fighter for themselves, but they're a good teammate. They help out around the gym, and I literally, if I have to kick you out of the gym, then maybe, and they're working. You know what I mean? Maybe that'll be the person. But right now, I'm just focused on the business and helping whoever I can. But if some fighters come out of the gym, that'll be great. If they don't, that'll be okay too.
And of course, you accomplished a lot in your career. But do you have something like a bucket list in fighting? So maybe fighting this kind of sport, or like fighting in some other country. Do you have like a bucket list of or a list of goals in your combat sport career?
I do. I do have some goals in my combat sports career. With this new era of Andre coming back. Andre, we used to say Andre 3000. It's gonna be Andre 4000 now. Um, I just want to take every opportunity that I can get. When I had a name out there. Nowadays, I walk around, people don't know. People don't even know that I fought in the UFC. You know what I mean? I have people that want to challenge me in little smokers and amateur fights, and I'm the coach. I'm just like, hey, I don't want to fight anybody, man. Don't size me up. I know I'm your size, but don't size me up. They have no idea who I am. So I want to be relevant again. Not to be famous, not to be popular, but for the opportunities. You know what I mean? There's a lot of opportunities out there for fighters like me now, and I just want to take as many opportunities as I can, whether it be MMA, whether it be boxing, whether it be bare knuckle, whatever, right? I want an opportunity, and I want to get compensated for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm building myself up, and the end goal is like I want to start over in my career almost, and do big things, and really try to set my family up this time.
And actually, right now it's like few good options for the fighters, because of course it's like MMA, but there is like bare knuckle, so BKFC. There is like karate combat, even like grappling wise. There is like RAF. So I think that is good that fighters have a little bit more like options to pick from.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I might be speaking too soon, but I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready for anything, and if I get some good offers, you know, I will definitely take them. There's like there's a lot of exciting things happening in MMA right now. You know, like Scott Coker just released that he just signed a $60 million deal with, partnering up with Tony Hawk. He's gonna start a new MMA promotion. That's really exciting. Scott Coker owns Fight Night at the Tech, so hopefully, you know, he sees something in me and he wants to sign me. MVP just happened. I really liked that show. I had a lot of friends that fought in MVP. I know they're taking care of the fighters. You know what I mean? That'll be a great option to go to. I get called back to the UFC. You never know. So like I'm hungry right now, man. I'm hungry and the sky's the limit, I feel like.
Okay, Andre, so many thanks for the time and for conversation. To be honest, I'm really like excited about this return, but of course, like I hope that after this we can see you in MMA delivering another great performances.
I appreciate that and I definitely think that you will. I definitely think you will.